everybody, my name is Ashley Byer, and I'm a senior sales engineer here at Decisions. Today, I wanted to take a deeper dive into integrations. Now, when I talk about integrations, you'll notice that we'll have databases, which is the collection of information organized into rows, columns, and tables. And we most commonly see these as MySQL, Azure, ADBC, and Postgres. Now, when we want two systems to go ahead and basically communicate to each other, we'll use APIs. Today, we're actually going to be taking a look at our REST API. So, of course, that's one of our examples. We also do SOAP and WCF as well, too. When we're calling to an external system, there's about 5 different steps that we're taking along the way. So first off, we need to go ahead and start by adding that REST method. Then we'll go ahead and configure it, add a step into that workflow there, define the structure, and then finally deserialize that. Now, I don't want to go ahead and take too many slides here. So what I'm actually going to do is take you inside Decisions. And I have prepped just a little bit to go ahead and set us up to have as much time on integrations as possible. The very first thing that we're going to do is we are actually going to go ahead and open a new tab and go over to reqres.in. So reqres.in. We're going to go ahead and scroll down just a little bit. You'll notice a few line items down, we have create here. We're going to press the create option. Next, we'll notice that we have a request and a response. And these are 2 different methods that we're actually going to add into our external service. We're going to start with the request first. So go ahead and copy from curly Q to curly Q, head back over into Decision Studio. Now this is going to be a little bit of going back and forth between these 2 tabs. So if you ever need to go ahead and take a pause during this video, please go ahead and do so and then resume. Inside of my studio, I'm going to come up to the create data types and integration. We're going to start with the XML, JSON, and CSV files. We are creating from JSON here, so go ahead and choose that option. This first one here is going to be job request. The second one is going to be our response. So go ahead and paste that request down here at the bottom. These are going to be the inputs that are shipping out to the external system. We'll go ahead and press create. Head back over into the other tab here. Do the exact same thing with the response area now. And again, decisions, create data types, the JSON option, create types from JSON. This time we're going to call it job response. Paste that little guy down there. And we've just created both of our methods for our integration. We'll get back to these guys and go ahead and sync everything together here in just a moment. But now we actually need to go ahead and build out the integration. To do so, I'm going to grab my base URL here, copy it over, head back into Decisions. And we're going to go ahead and create our integration this time. We're going to do so from external services. That service that we're adding now is going to be a REST service. I'm going to go ahead and give it the name of Ashley's Jobs and paste that base URL here at the service URL. Now we do have a few different options. We can go ahead and add authentication such as OAuth. I'm going to leave mine at no authentication just to keep it pretty streamlined for today for this example and save at that integration. This is going to create a folder for that integration. What happens is as soon as we press save, it's going to take us immediately into that folder. Now we're able to come up here under all and add a method or service. I'm going to go ahead and name it the exact same thing. So Ashley's Jobs. We need to give it a relative base. It already has the reqres.in /. So heading back over to that second tab over here, we're going to go ahead and now click on this request area because we're going to go ahead and copy in from after that last / there. So API and onward. Paste it over here for relative base. Now this is going to be posting. So instead of a get method, I'm going to go ahead and do a post method. Our content type is actually going to be JSON. Now we're going to go ahead and get from serialized data type. And here we're able to go ahead and type in our job request. Next one down here, we'll go ahead and do select from data and type in our job response. Now we're going to go ahead and press OK. This goes ahead and creates a method for us to go ahead and drag and drop into our screen. I'm going to go ahead and come back into the folder we were working with before and head into my flow now. You'll notice I already have a form up here. This is going to allow us to go ahead and give some input data. Coming down a little ways, I'm going to go ahead and start by going through these folders. We're going to start an integration. With inside integration, we're going to go to REST services and expand out Ashley's jobs. This is going to allow me to go ahead and drag and drop that integration out into the screen. Connect over. And now inside of my properties panel, I'm able to come to my inputs. Now we can't just drag and drop that input in there because there's a few different line items for data. So I'm gonna actually build data here, and you'll notice that we have that job and name. Just like over here, it was going ahead and asking for the job and name. So I'm going to go ahead and build from Flow, and this job request form is giving me a name, a role, so their job, as well as a salary. So I'm going to go ahead and select from Flow here, and for input for job, I'm going to come over to role, and for name, select from Flow, and go ahead and choose their name from that form too. To go ahead and see that comes through with the job ID that it needs to be, I'm going to go ahead and have it send out an email to us. Now I am going to go ahead and pause this right here so I can build out the email really quick, and then I'll go ahead and resume through the debugger. Also should go ahead and show you the inputs and outputs of the integration inside of the debugger. Okay, now that I've gone ahead and done the email here, we're going to go ahead and press debug. Inside the debugger, our form should pop up where I can go ahead and enter my name. And even go ahead and add in my salary here. We'll see that it runs through the integration and sends out an email here. If I go ahead and click on my integration, I'll be able to view the input output data. We'll see that it took in the information, and it did go ahead and give me an ID here. Now, if I want to go ahead and check out that email as well, just to see it there, I can come to job approval. I'll see that I've got my name, the role or job, and then my ID right here. So that is setting up an integration inside of Decisions. Now, another way we can do this is an API call. So I'm going to go ahead and close this out. When we start talking about API calls inside of Decisions, I'm going to go ahead and do it from the entire workflow itself here. So to configure that integration, we can come up here to the top, actually start to build out that integration here. And an API service as a JSON if I wanted to. However, right now, nothing's going to happen because we actually have to set up our input data and then go ahead and tell the system or the workflow what we want to send out as the outputs. So I'm going to start from the top. Let's set up input data. The input data we need is a name and a role. I want to go ahead and make sure the naming is right. So we're going to press save here. I think it's actually going to be job. So let's have job this time versus role from that form. And we're going to press save. Now I am going to go ahead and delete this form out of here. But before I do so, I'm just going to go ahead and save as a checkpoint. So I can return back to it at any time. And now I'm going to go ahead and delete this form. Now the mapping convention is going to be a little off here. So I'm going to go ahead and change job to connect with job. And best practices, let's just go ahead and straighten up those lines there. From here, what we can do is have our end step, go ahead and output the job, the name, and result. Now result is going to be a few different line items, but we can go ahead and make that happen. So I'm going to press view here. And we're going to go ahead and change this over to current session ID. And then this should go ahead and load up. This guy here is going to give you your call via get URL, your call via post URL, as well as a serialized representation of all your inputs and all of your outputs. Today, I'm going to go ahead and show this through Postman, which is going to allow us to go ahead and see the API render. So to do so, we're going to go ahead and just copy this URL right here. You press copy, and then I'm going to go ahead and open up Postman. I'm going to go ahead and automatically change this to post since we're copied over the post URL and paste it in there. I'm gonna come to authorization, select API key. Now we're gonna go ahead and make sure this session ID is the correct value. So I'm gonna go ahead and just copy in my session ID without the quotations. And then I'm gonna go ahead and paste that inside of the session ID value. It looks like it's the exact same one here. We're now gonna go over to body. We're gonna choose raw, and we're gonna go ahead and do, again, curly Q bracket to curly Q bracket, copy. And now we're gonna go ahead and paste. I'm gonna go ahead and change this up here a little bit. We're gonna do Paul Michael. And then the job is going to be sales. I'm gonna go ahead and press send. And then we'll actually see it come through with the outputs as well as that email pop up down here. The outputs we told it to go ahead and bring through was job, name, and result. The result also brought through the name, job, and ID here. The ID is the critical part for integration. Now, the last thing I want to do is to go ahead and show you guys the modules inside of Decisions itself. So in your folder scaffolding, if you come over to My Apps, you'll be able to come up to the top to My App Store here. And we'll go ahead and see that maybe we don't have any installed right now. These are some different applications that we've got, but we can switch over to modules here and actually download some of these modules that we have pre-built in for you. You'll see that I use DocuSign pretty often, as well as the United States Postal Services. However, there are many out-of-the-box solutions for you that you don't necessarily have to set up the integration for because we already have done it for you. You just have to install it, and then those drag and drop features are available to you. Again, if we want to go ahead and see any of these that we've already pre-downloaded here, we'll come into a flow like we have done before, and we'll actually be able to see all that under integration. And then like right here, we'll see DocuSign, where I can go ahead and drag and drop those different steps into here. We might also see the United States Postal Service again, where I can drag and drop those steps into here. And it's as easy as setting up my properties panel. Now, if you have any questions about anything I've showed today, or if you need a little bit more information, please feel free to reach out to us, either sales@decisions.com or support@decisions.com. We also have great documentation on our website too. And if you need anything else, go ahead and ask for Ashley. Just remember, guys, always automate everything. Thank you so much.